Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Doop Movie Podcast. We are the Democratic Order of Podcasters. My name is Brian.
My name is Keith.
And today we are talking about the direct-to-video Warner premiere animated movie, Batman vs. the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Interesting thing, this is the first collaboration between Warner Brothers and Nickelodeon Pictures.
Nice. I know they used to be owned by the same company, like, back in the 80s.
Yes.
Like, that's maybe it was in the 90s.
I think it was the 80s.
Yeah, Warner Home Media.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they still are. But this whole movie has, like, a lot of references to the 90s and the 80s, you know?
That's for sure.
And this is the one that's gonna date us. Because I was born in 1983 and you were born almost a decade later.
Yeah, 1992. Yeah.
So, the Ninja Turtles were very formative for me, but you were more like Dragon Ball Z,
yeah,
you know.
More sort of like Toonami, Adult Swim. Like, I enjoyed Ninja Turtles and Thundercats and so on and so forth, Transformers, but
yeah.
it was more formative for you than it was for me, for sure.
I love the whole Reagan era cartoon stuff. Like, I even loved the weird stuff, like Lone Star, who was like the cow sheriff, like in space, you know?
Yeah.
But everybody knows who Thundercats are. Everybody knows who the Ninja Turtles are. You know, everybody knows who the Transformers and G.I. Joe are. Mm-hmm. But do you know who the Samurai Pizza Cats are?
Actually, I do know who they are.
Does the audience?
You know. Maybe some of them. I'm sure our audience might know, you know.
But this is a collaboration based on the comic of the same name, Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
A 6-issue crossover miniseries by James C. Dyson IV and Freddie Williams II.
Nice. It's good, based on the Eastman and Laird Turtles comics, which were... It's interesting that they're crossovers with Batman, because originally the Eastman and Laird comics were made as sort of a ripoff of Daredevil. Right? The foot was the hand. Like,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like a comedy parody of Daredevil, but the first comic, which is in black and white, takes itself extremely seriously, and is actually what the first live-action Turtles movie was based on, which is why the live-action Turtles movie is so much darker than everything else Turtle-related.
Yes.
Although this movie gets pretty dark. There's you know, death and destruction and gore and blood and...
Yeah. I was very surprised to see, you know, blood in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles property, you know.
Yeah.
Again, more so.
The first time it happened, it really surprised me. Like, well, we'll get to when we get to the plot, but like the first two times that, you know, blood appears on screen, the first one was like, oh, that's a bit much, and then the second one was like, holy crap!
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It was this film was directed by Jake Castorena. I look into his, you know, filmography, and the only thing I've come up with really is like The Death of Superman and Scooby-Doo and Batman, which is a different crossover, but I think this crossover more legitimizes, like, the reason for a crossover to begin with. Like, you know, like, there's something to explore in both of these properties, and, like, they're very parallel, you know.
They fit really well together.
Yes,
I really
absolutely.
And the in the original comics, it was made very clear that it was a different dimension.
Yeah.
That, you know, Shredder had come through from the Turtles dimension to get immortality from Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
But in this, it's just like, oh, well, the Turtles live in New York, and they think Batman is a myth.
Yeah.
Because apparently, you know, most people outside of Gotham think Batman is a myth. Which is, you know, suspension of disbelief. I mean, he's Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it kind of doesn't fit, because on the one hand, Batman is a myth and some people don't believe he's real, but yet the Robin in this movie is Damian Wayne.
Yeah.
Who is like the fourth Robin.
Yeah.
Like, Batman's obviously been doing this a while in this movie.
Right.
You know, for Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake. Yeah. I'm not a nerd at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
This film was also written by Marlee Matlin Greaser. One of her past projects she had, it was the Teen Titans Go versus the Teen Titans. So it's like a crossover between the original Teen Titans cartoon in like the early thousands cartoon,
that.
And then there's a Teen Titans Go, which is like the reboot of the show.
It's like more kid focused,
more kid friendly. Even though, like, you know, Teen Titans were for kids originally, Teen Titans Go has a much more satirical edge to it.
Yeah, well,
it's not really like like a serious, superhero fan fiction thing.
Yeah, well, the original Teen Titans was very much a story-driven, like plot-heavy series.
Yes.
And the Teen Titans Go is more like Looney Tunes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Not saying that either one is better. Original's better. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I just caught in my throat. But they both have their appeal.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Depending on their audience, of course.
I can see the sensibilities.
Yeah.
Here. Whoever did the writing got the personalities of the turtles almost perfect.
Yes. Definitely.
I mean, there's a couple little things where that were just seemed a little off to me. But then again, I've been steeped in Turtles culture for 30 years.
Yeah.
So if it seems a little off to me, that's because, oh God, almost 40 years. Oh, R.I.P. me. No. So things that seem a little off to me as far as like their personalities are concerned, most people are not going to recognize, right? So I'm not going to mark off the movie for it.
Right.
Right. But anything else you want to talk about before we get into the plot?
Well, I do have some stuff between the actors, but I think I will probably just introduce them as we talk about them throughout the story.
Okay. Well, so the movie is pretty. The animation is, while a little choppy in some places, overall very visually appealing.
Yes.
Like the turtles are kind of a Batman is let's start with Batman. He is sort of a mixture between the Adam West Batman and the Batman the Animated Series Batman.
Yeah.
Like, his proportions and the way he moves are taken from the animated series, but he's wearing the blue and gray suit instead of the black suit from TAS.
Yeah.
Alfred has been the same across all animated Batman stuff.
Pretty much. Like, nothing really changes with him, but, I mean, he's played appropriately, of course.
The turtle designs are sort of taken as like amalgamations of the latest series with like the square fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
But also kept some elements from older series, like their belt buckles have their letters on them.
Yeah.
Right, which is straight out of the 80s cartoon.
Yeah, like I really like how they're all distinctive too. Like, it's not like the same design and like just different colored, bandanas pretty much. Yeah. Which is like that's there for budgetary reasons, of course, but I like how, it speaks to their personalities more so in this one.
Well, there's also different shades of green to the turtles, which is something I always appreciate. That's something the original 80s series didn't do.
Yeah.
But a lot of other incarnations have, and in their original, the colorized version of the first comic, which was originally black and white, they have different shades of green. Like, Raphael is a little bit more of an olive green, and Donatello is more of a deep green, and Michelangelo is kind of a light green, and they all have different like face shapes and stuff, and it really works well to get across their personalities. I will say, the only part about like the acting and writing and personality that I'm going to knock a point off for is Michelangelo.
Okay.
He's supposed to be kind of dumb. He's supposed to be the party guy, but in this movie he's basically 12. Like he's a little too far into the immature. Some of his stuff is hilarious,
Yeah, don't get us wrong.
But there's I'll point out a very specific thing when we get to that scene, but yeah, there's a couple times when I thought, one of the other turtles, preferably Raphael, should have been like, "Shut up, Mikey!" Whack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie opens up. The opening credits are striking because they're very like black and white, high contrast. The only color is the bandanas on the turtles themselves.
Yeah, which is basically like very Sin City inspired. I definitely want to make a note of that.
Well, yeah, it was very Sin City and also very much an homage to the very first comic.
Yes.
Which was black and white, and well, it was a lot like Sin City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except with all the rapey stuff,
Yeah. Well, we don't do the rape stuff.
Absolutely.
Although Batman is no stranger to rape stuff. I mean, look at The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, that's something we should also maybe do someday. The Killing Joke movie. I've got that one too. So anyway, we get the introduction is Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, right, is walking into Power's laboratory to talk to them about this experimental generator they've created. And she's like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to get an A on this paper." And then she notices movement in the rafters, and immediately like jerks her clipboard up and catches some throwing stars that were aimed at one of the scientists in a very, Batman move.
Yeah.
Like it is really cool. And she immediately is like, get down! And she tackles the other scientist as more shurikens slam into the computer equipment. And this is when we see Foot Clan ninjas, which is just your basic ninja gang, but with like red stylized feet on their foreheads, jump down and start menacingly coming up on Barbara and everyone who are now laying down because she tackled the guys.
Yeah.
And this is when you see Leonardo, one of the turtles, throw a smoke pellet down. It lands between them, and this is a very brief sequence, but it's like the smoke obscures the entire thing for the entire room for like 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, there is a frantic but also hidden in the smoke ninja fight. And you can really see some of the choreography. Like especially Raphael just like haymakers a dude. Donatello or Michelangelo jumps on a guy. But then it kind of cuts over to Donatello with his bow staff, and he really does like this cool little martial arts maneuver. Like whap, 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 whap. And by the time the smoke clears, the ninjas are gone, the turtles are gone, and the generator is gone.
Yeah.
Right? So the scene cuts to Batgirl on top of a building, now in her Batgirl outfit, reporting to Batman.
She is voiced by Rachel Bloom. You might recognize her from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend as Rebecca, the main star of that. And she has a lot of YouTube videos, one of which is a letter to Ray Bradbury,
Okay.
And it's very interesting.
I've not seen it. Is it good?
It's very good. I would very much like her to do these things to me.
Okay.
Instead of Ray Bradbury.
Fair enough.
Continue.
So anyway, she's reporting to Batman, and she's like, I didn't, it was over so fast, I didn't have time to Batgirl up. But there were metahumans involved, some sort of green monster toad people, right? And Batman is like, whoever they are, they're going to regret setting foot in Gotham. And I have a note here, but I'll wait till you introduce who plays Batman.
Batman is being played by Troy Baker. You may recognize him. He was Batman in the Telltale game, that came out previously before this, but he was also Joel in The Last of Us, Vincent and Catherine, and Booker DeWitt in the BioShock games. He has also played the Joker in a separate, game series, the Arkham Origins and such. But he's wonderful.
So in my opinion, he's the second best Batman voice.
Yeah, right? Kevin Conroy is amazing.
Nobody can top Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
Like, they even gave Conroy a chance to play it in live action in the CW crossover a couple years ago, and he did. He was playing like old, broken, evil Batman, but he acquitted himself well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Troy, you're great. I love your work as Joel. I love your work as Booker DeWitt. I love your voice as Vincent, and not a lot of people know about Catherine the game, so I'm just a personal fan of that. I would like to just point that out there.
Yeah, he's good. He does the gravelly voice, like, all too serious tone really well.
Yes.
He gets it down. He obviously is having fun with the role in certain places, but he also does a lot of the like grunting and the heavy breathing and stuff, which is difficult to do as a voice actor.
Yeah.
But it comes across as you almost don't notice it, which is the best kind of performance you can get for that kind of stuff, because it just feels natural. Doesn't feel like it's out of the scene.
Absolutely.
So anyway, the next scene cuts to a street level view of like an electronics shop, and there's a news report on and a bunch of TVs that are like, after the mysterious break-in at Powers Lab, Gotham police are clueless as to who's going to be struck next. And that's when you hear Michelangelo go, "We know though, don't we, Donnie?" "We sure do." And the turtles, who are popping up from a sewer grate, hold up a big map that just has the word Wayne Enterprises circled on it. Right?
Yeah, their next goal.
So Leonardo, always the stoic leader, is like, "We don't want to be seen," so they jump back into the sewers. And then Batman is researching. Cuts to the Batcave, where he's getting ready to go out, and he's been doing research on the Foot Clan. Right? They're ninja. They have their fighting style is an ancient form of ninjutsu. I have to be prepared for this. And Alfred, who is there with him, says, "Do you think it's the League of Assassins?" Which is like the premier ninja clan in the DC universe. And Batman's like, no, it's not them. Batgirl's report said that this was somebody different, right?
Yeah.
So, cut to just outside Wayne Enterprises, like the big building in the middle of Gotham, and we see the Penguin and a bunch of his goons are talking about getting ready to rob it because the Penguin noticed the pattern that all the experimental tech is going missing. So if they steal the Cloud Seeder from Wayne Enterprises, then they can sell it to this new player in Gotham and make all kinds of money.
Penguin is being voiced by Tom Kenny, who has voiced the Penguin over in Batman Ninja, previously to this. But he is also SpongeBob SquarePants.
Ha! I did not know that.
Yeah, Tom Kenny's the king. I met him one time at Dragon Con 2011. Shook his hand and all that.
Nice.
That was pretty cool,
Nice.
He was also Spyro in most of the games except for the first one. Just the two after the first one and then the re-released Reignited trilogy. He was the narrator of Powerpuff Girls. He was also the Ice King in Adventure Time. And Wardo in Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends.
Nice.
There's a lot of Foster's alum in this, so
Nice. Well, I'm counting on you to point him out because I'm not familiar with Foster's. I've heard of it. I've seen the commercials, but I don't think I've ever seen an episode.
Yeah, it's cute.
But the Penguin. One thing I wanted to point out is the Penguin's goons in this. Their character models are taken straight out of the 80s Turtle animated series. The big tall guy with like the green spikes in his head is the Krang battlesuit. Yeah. Right. And then the dude with the red facial hair is Rocksteady. And then the dude with the black guy with the big facial hair and kind of the punk rock aesthetic is Bebop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The only non-turtle mutant who is not represented in this goon gang is Baxter Stockman.
Yeah.
But there's a good reason for that.
There is a good reason for that. For sure.
So the Turtles make quick work of Penguin's goons, and Mikey, in the first of one of his many, like, I Love Gotham, talks about, this dude has a gunbrella, because he has an umbrella that's a gun, right? Which is like Penguin's signature thing. They break it, and then Leonardo's standing there with a sword at his throat, like, tell us who's working with the Shredder. And he's like, Shredder, you face the Penguin! and a sword pops out. And Michelangelo's like, it's a swordbrella too? I love this little guy!
Yeah, I like that.
And during the sword fight, Leonardo is probably the most badass. Because he's just like negligently swatting aside the Penguin's blows. Like he's not even having a try.
Yeah.
He disarms, he knocks the thing out of his hand and holds the sword to his neck and asks again, and he's like, well, I have no intention of being skewered, so he jumps off the building, and then he flies away with his umbrella as a helicopter. It's a flying helicopter umbrella, too?
Yeah.
Gotham is bonkers, yo! And like later on, they're pointing out, what other city has just blimps flying around for no reason? Which is straight out of the Batman the Animated Series. Right? Then it cuts to inside Wayne Enterprises, where all the scientists are like getting ready to test the Cloud Seeder, and all of a sudden a bunch of Foot Clan ninjas just sort of appear, jump down from the rafters and stuff, and one of them walks up to and like straight up pushes a knife through one of the scientists, but it's a hologram, right? And that was the first part where I'm like, oh, he almost died, okay, because there was a part during the fight with Penguin's goons where the guy who was modeled after Krang's battlesuit, got in a one-on-one with Raphael, who then smashed his face in with his knee. Yeah. And, teeth and blood go flying. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's a bit harsh for Ninja Turtles, but okay. Yeah. Right? And then the Foot Clan is here in the Wayne Enterprises, and it turns out it's a hologram, and the lights shut off, and all the holograms shut off. And then you hear Batman, the boss gave him the night off. And so Batman proceeds to just start picking apart the Foot Clan. Like, these are just ninja mooks. They don't stand a chance for Batman. Yeah. Right? So he's taking them apart. He's doing it. He's moving really well. This is another instance where I think the fight choreography is really cool. Yeah. He's ducking under blows, and he's throwing them over his shoulder, and at one point he whips out his grapple gun and, leaps up to the second floor and throws one dude into another dude. And after he finishes, taking him down, he picks one of the guys up who's still conscious and is like, where are your metahumans? What do you want with the Cloud Seeder? And the guy's like, metahumans? You mean the turtles? and all you hear is, and the dude's head just explodes, where a shuriken has smashed into his face.
Yeah.
And, like, there's brain matter and stuff flying around. And this was the second part where I'm like, people gonna die.
Yeah, it's definitely leveled up, the violence, for sure. At least compared to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, Batman has done, similar stuff in his stuff.
Yeah, but even, like, a lot of the visual references so far have been for the animated series, which didn't do this much blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, this was, but anyway, this is, now the Shredder, who obviously threw the shurikens, tries to escape. And Batman grapples him with his grappling hook to try and stop him from getting away, and they get into a fight.
Yeah, which is wonderful, by the way. I love this fight.
It's so good. It's straight out of a Kurosawa film, which is I watched like the making of thing on the DVD, and they talk about for the fight scenes we really wanted to emulate the Kurosawa kung fu films, which I thought was a really good choice because the move. I even put in my notes here like the move counter move. Chess style of a kung fu fight really fits well with Batman and Shredder.
Like it's legitimately martial arts.
Yeah.
Like his performance for sure. Shredder is voiced by Andrew Kishino, also known as the Big Kish. You might recognize him. He was the voice actor who played Saw Gerrera in the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Wait,
did he actually play Saul in Rogue One?
No, that's Forrest Whitaker.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's who that. You're right.
Yeah,
okay.
But like he was the younger Saw Gerrera, in the Clone Wars.
Okay.
So that'll give you something to think on.
Cool. The fight scene is awesome. Shredder is a badass.
Yeah. In
this fight, like he has Batman pretty much on the ropes for most of the fight until Batman breaks the claw gauntlets that he has. But not before he uses those gauntlets to shatter a bunch of batarangs in mid-flight. Like, Shredder reacts quickly.
Yeah.
He breaks the claw gauntlets, and then they get into a much closer, very fast, like, fist-punching style. And one of my favorite martial arts moves is something from straight out of a Jackie Chan movie, where he throws a punch, and it gets stopped, like, a couple inches from the dude's neck, so he just stiff fingers right there and gets him in the throat. And Shredder does that to Batman. And they both stagger off, and Shredder kind of like falls down to the floor. And they take a minute to catch their breath, and then Batman leaps off of the railing with like his cape outspread, like like Batman does.
Yeah.
And Shredder starts this like weird martial arts magic move thing where he does like a circle and he starts shaking his body and he punches Batman as he's coming down in the stomach, but it's very obviously a very powerful hit because it throws Batman across the room.
Yeah.
Right? And just leaves him, there's blood pouring out of his mouth. He's smashed against some consoles.
Like he focused all of his energy into
all of his chi into one hit. And he's like, don't get in my way again. Next time I won't be so merciful. And then he's gone.
Yeah.
Right. Cut to the Turtles in, I guess, their sewer hideout in Gotham, right? They've set up a computer. Mikey is on a whiteboard making notes about I'm skipping a part. I'm skipping one of the best parts of the movie.
Yes, you are.
Cut back to the rooftop where Raphael is like, this has all been a waste of time. This guy's obviously not Shredder's partner. And Leonardo says, all right, well, let's get him to the street so the cops can pick him up. And he kicks him off the building. They land in a dumpster. And as they go down to the dumpster to basically make sure the goons are still tied up, they spot the Batmobile. And they're all just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they all geek out over
it. Yeah, Donatello's like, how much would that thing cost, do you think? And Michelangelo's like, my soul? Because I'd pay that?
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Batman comes leaping off of a rooftop, and he lands in front of his car. And Leonardo's like, first guess? I think this might be his car. So, what starts out as a kind of a face-off, Raphael kind of instigates into a fight.
Yeah.
Because he's like, that penguin dude mentioned a bat. And Leonardo goes, we need answers. And he's like, Raphael's like, I got this. And he charges in for the fight. And so now Batman is fighting the Turtles.
Yeah.
Which is not as intense as the Batman versus Shredder.
Yeah,
right?
like the fact that this happened right after that is a little, it marks this fight down. for sure.
Yeah.
It's
more comic relief
yeah.
than an actual fight. Like, there's all kinds of wacky hijinks. Batman sort of makes mincemeat of the Turtles, which I didn't really like, but I sort of understood it. Like, this is not Batman effing around. This is Batman who thinks these are villains.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the Turtles are not trying to hurt him. They're just trying to get some answers out of him. So they're holding back.
Right.
I will say one of my favorite lines in the movie is it cuts to like the diner that they're behind fighting. And these two women are there, and one of them says, "I think we should see other people." And the other one starts crying and says, "I don't like other people."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, Michelangelo, was thrown into the pizza bar at some point and was like, "Everybody's got to run. There's this crazy guy dressed like a bat trying to kill us."
And they all like, "It's a talking toad!" And
yeah.
tear off out of the... He's like, "I know, spooky, right?"
Yeah, it's so great.
So after the fight, after Batman takes him down, right, they're all beat up and kind of lying in a pile, and Donatello is the only one still somewhat on his feet. He goes, "All right, I'm calling this. It's Ninja Vanish time," which is straight out of the first movie.
Yeah.
Right? But he pops the smoke capsule, and when the smoke clears, the Turtles are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So cut to... Batman managed to take one of Leonardo's size. Or not Leonardo, Raphael's size during the fight, which is also straight out of the first movie.
Yeah.
Then we cut to the Turtles' lair where they're, researching the Batman, and Michelangelo's going off about, like, oh, he's got a cowl, but if he's a bad guy, that makes him, like, 40% less. Look, right. Michelangelo's 12.
Yeah.
Where the rest of the Turtles are teenagers, Mikey is their younger brother, it seems
much.
like. Donatello uses a computer algorithm to locate the Batcave,
mm-hmm.
right? So the next scene, there's a villain scene first, but then it cuts to Shredder and talking to a fly person.
Yeah.
Right, who is Baxter Stockman.
Baxter Stockman, played by Keith Ferguson. He was Blue in Foster's Imaginary Friends. He was also Bosch in Final Fantasy XII.
Okay.
And Marluxia in Kingdom Hearts series of games.
Cool.
He's also like a sound-alike replacement, like a lower budget. We can't get Harrison Ford, so I might need you to do these voices for like Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
Or Owen Wilson for like the McQueen character
mm-hmm.
for Cars. Like,
he's a mimic.
Pretty much. He's a mimic for both of those actors.
Nice.
In those performances for sure.
He's good.
Yeah.
His characterization is pretty good. He's like, I don't know if I'm a hostage or if I'm a loyal henchman or what. I haven't been paid, so I guess that's a point in the hostage column.
That's a point in the hostage column. And he sounds very much like Jeff Goldblum, which is perfect because he's a fly doctor.
Exactly.
Like, it's so awesome. This is one of my favorite performances in this film. Just
he's so good.
It's understated, and I really enjoy him.
But come to find out at that meeting that the Shredder's partner is none other than Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Right? The head of the demon, the leader of the League of Assassins,
mm-hmm.
which was an interesting choice because the earlier in the movie, Alfred's like, is it the League of Assassins? And Batman's like, nah, it's not them.
Yeah.
But turns out it is them.
It is them.
And so, real quick, the deal they've struck is that Shredder's going to give the mutagen ooze that he apparently, before the movie, stole from the TCRI Turtles lab, and to Roz, and Roz is going to let Shredder use the Lazarus Pit to become immortal. That's their deal.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, you were going to say?
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul is played by Kaz Anvar. The only thing that I could see of note from this actor, he was on the show The Expanse. It was a big sci-fi show. It still is. I think it's going to have his last season coming up soon. But that actor won't be returning due to Me Too allegations and such. And I'm interested in the show in general, but I'm just going to keep that in mind about his character.
Yeah.
He plays Alex Kamal in that show.
Okay.
So, but he does pretty well as Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. He does. Roz is kind of a difficult character to play because he's got to be smooth and like composed at all times.
Like very stoic.
So it's difficult to put any emotion in the voice.
Right.
But he manages to pull off the scenes he wants to pull off.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So cut to Oh, there's a demonstration where Roz is like, "Can you deliver all that you've promised?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Shredder pulls out a needle of the ooze.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Roz is like, he just waves forward one of his ninja goons, and Shredder injects him, and he mutates into like this giant werewolf dude.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one scene that really just kind of shows their complete lack of care for their henchmen, where he's like, "He will live, probably," right? And Roz is like, "He's just a goon. I have many more where he came from," right? But anyway, he turns into this giant werewolf, and that's when Ra's al Ghul's eyes light up, and then it pans up to Robin, Damian Wayne,
mm-hmm.
watching from the rafters, who then escapes, right? Then it cuts to the turtles swimming underwater and coming up and surfacing, talking about, the algorithm that Donatello used to locate the Batcave, right? They come in through the sewers.
Yeah.
So they get up in the Batcave, and this is the part where Michelangelo really needed to be like punched in the face by one of the other turtles. Because he grabs one of Batman's cowls and starts wearing it and running around knocking things over like a hyperactive kid.
Yeah.
Right? So Damian Wayne, who is in the Batcave, is understandably pissed. Wants to know why there are 4 green monsters effing up his cave.
Yeah.
How did you get here?
Yeah.
And so they get into it. And they manage to subdue Robin and have him and they're sitting on him so he can't like get up and keep attacking them.
Right.
When all you hear is Troy Baker, "Get off Robin now!"
Mm-hmm.
Right? And Batman shows up. And they don't fight again, because this time Leonardo puts his sword away and is like, "Look, we're not here to fight. We know you're not working with the Shredder. We came to see if you could help us." And so that they sort of like get into the comparing notes and stuff, and that's when Robin tells them that they're working with Ra's al Ghul.
Mm-hmm.
And so during this conversation, Batgirl and Donatello are working on a retro-mutagen, which will counteract the ooze,
mm-hmm.
right? But only if it's delivered in the first 24 hours. After which the DNA changes are baked in, right? But she makes a point to stress that it's untested.
Yeah.
So then the bat signal goes off, and they go up to the rooftop where Batman usually meets Commissioner Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And so Gordon tells him that Ra's al Ghul and the Shredder have broken into Arkham Asylum. Which is, that's a scene that happens in between there. You can see them getting into the asylum and killing the guards and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What they went in there for was to get the Joker venom, like the laughing gas,
mm-hmm.
from the Joker, who is...
played by Troy Baker.
Same guy who plays Batman.
It's so great. It's so great that, this is the first time the same person has played both Batman and Joker in the same property.
It is?
As well, yes.
Oh, cool.
So it's interesting in and of itself.
He does really well.
Yes.
He's not quite Mark Hamill.
No.
Right? But he's close.
We still love you, Troy.
Yeah. No, Troy is not bad at all. Troy
Absolutely.
Baker is really good in both of these roles.
Yes.
But, he's trying to live up to a couple of legends.
I know.
Kevin Conroy, the interplay between Conroy and Hamill as Batman and the Joker, I don't think has ever been topped. And I don't know if it ever could be.
Yeah. He's definitely the one who has played both,
Yeah.
For sure.
But that being said, so they give the Joker a sample of the ooze, and in one of my favorite scenes in the thing, he's like, gets on the intercom and says, "Attention inmates of Arkham," as all their doors open. It's like, "You are now free thanks to your new warden, me, the Joker." And he's like, "And we have a special gift for you. Oh, nurse!" And he turns and looks, and Harley Quinn is standing there, with her hammer on her shoulder, just looking at him. "Nurse!" Just glaring at him. "Dr. Quinn, you damn straight!"
6 years of medical school and 3 years of internship, and he calls me nurse.
Yeah, exactly.
Placed very well by Tara Strachan, who voiced Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, one of the other inmates.
And Batgirl. She voiced Batgirl in the animated series.
In the animated series, yeah. But she voiced Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy in Batman Ninja. And she was also Raven in Teen Titans, the original. I'm pretty sure she might have also done her voice in Teen Titans Go.
Yes. All the voice actors from the original and Go return. Except for Slade.
Yeah, which, good reason. But she is also voiced over Dill Pickles from
Rugrats.
Rugrats. Timmy Turner.
Mm-hmm. From Fairly Odd Parents.
We've got Ben Tennyson from Ben 10.
Mm-hmm.
Bubbles.
From the Powerpuff Girls.
And then she's recently being seen as Miss Minutes from the show Loki. That's recently been pointing out episodes.
I have not seen Loki yet.
It's interesting. It's very good.
You missed one of her big voice acting credits. Probably her biggest one.
Oh yeah, tell me.
Twilight Sparkle from My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
Oh yeah, that is the biggest one.
Well, I'm one of her biggest roles.
I'm sure that she's gained notoriety from that.
Yeah.
I'm just not too familiar with any of the any of the My Little Pony world.
I have a 13-year-old daughter,
which I understand why you understand these things. There was this great segment that Patton Oswalt did on Conan one time, and was like, he's already so obsessed with Star Wars he can't undergo another onslaught of information, and then he goes into My Little Pony because of his daughter. So
yeah, and he just rattles off 1,000 details at once. Yeah, I remember that thing. It was great.
Yeah,
Patton Oswalt's a funny dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Other inmates at Arkham, Mr. Freeze, who's played by John DiMaggio, who we recognize as Bender, the best character ever.
Yeah.
Jake the Dog, Dr. Draken, first one from Adventure Time, Dr. Draken from Kim Possible.
Didn't he also voice Batman in, I think, the Red Hood movie?
It wasn't Batman in the Red Hood. He voiced the Black Mask.
Okay.
No, maybe? No, he was the Joker in... He was the Joker in the Red Hood.
I knew he was in it. I remember him being in it.
Yeah. I want to say he was a Joker.
Okay. Either way, a very accomplished voice actor and super, super good at timing.
Yeah. He was a Scotsman in Samurai Jack.
Oh, I love Samurai Jack.
He was also Waka and Kimari in Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
And he was Gonza in Princess Mononoke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the very gruff village guy.
I did not know that.
He's very accomplished for sure. And then there's also Two-Face, played by Keith Ferguson, the same actor who played, Dr. Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlos Asacri, who plays Bane. He was on Reno 911. He was Spyro the first time in the original game.
Mm-hmm.
Laszlo and Laszlo. And he has played Raphael in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows games. So,
nice.
He's dipped his toes in the Eternal material before.
Oh yeah, this is definitely just a who's who of voice actors for this movie.
Let's see. I think there was... Oh yeah,
the Scarecrow?
Yeah, the Scarecrow. Tim Medicine, who also plays Commissioner Gordon this time around. He's done a lot of impressions of presidents. So he's impersonated Bill Clinton on Gordy in 1995, JFK in Transformers 3, and Ronald Reagan in The Dark Knight Returns. So he's like a who's who of presidential voiceovers, pretty much.
Nice.
But yeah, in the scene in Arkham Asylum, the ooze is being rained on them throughout the the rain system, the fire
system.
Security. Yeah. Sort of thing. And so they're all transforming, but we're not quite sure what their final form is yet.
Yeah, not yet. And I'll get into it as we get to the fight scenes, because this is definitely not the kung fu fight scenes. This is the this is a cartoon show fight scenes, right? Yeah. They're not bad. They're good action scenes. Yeah. None of this movie is bad.
Yeah.
Right. They're good action scenes. They don't have some of the technical choreography that a lot of the ninja fight scenes do.
Yeah.
Which I think was a good stylistic choice, because a lot of these rogues are not martial artists.
Right.
So we have, we get into the asylum. There's a race to the asylum, which Damien wins, which is a little callback, because Damien is the youngest among all of them.
Yeah.
He's 10.
Yeah.
Or 11. Yeah. So they get to the asylum, and they get inside, and they find out that Joker has mutated all the inmates of Arkham. So all of Batman's big rogues gallery that you just mentioned have been mutated into their form. So they split up to kind of go through, sweep through the asylum, find Joker, and reseal all the inmates.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly what order everyone is found in, but Mr. Freeze has been mutated into a giant polar bear,
which is so perfect. That's better than Arnold for sure. It fits You know,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much.
Oh yeah, he even does a couple of the ice puns.
Yeah,
like "Ice to meet you." Yeah,
and it fits this time. Like it's so great. I really like that fight scene.
That's Damien, Raphael, and Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Are fighting Mr. Freeze.
Yeah,
and then Batgirl and Donatello are fighting
Bane.
They fight Bane.
Yeah, because Bane made this whole crack about breaking the bat.
Right. He has been mutated into a giant cheetah.
Yeah, which is great.
Which I guess okay, or a jaguar maybe because Bane is from South America.
Right.
Either
way.
Either way, he's a big cat.
He's a big cat.
He's like, don't you know, I'm the one that broke the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And then he tried to do the same thing
to Donatello.
And then, nope, the shell's too hard. And kind of breaks his knee.
Yeah, it breaks his knee to pieces. And then, Batgirl smashes him with a wall sconce.
Yeah, that was so great.
And then it cuts to Leonardo and Batman, who have gone down to the basement, where they are attacked by this really unnerving and scary giant crow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
And
obviously.
He's got the fear gas, which Batman warns Leonardo about, and this is probably the most disturbing scene in the whole movie for me. First of all, the Crow version of Scarecrow is super unnerving and just downright scary.
Right.
Right, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Who voices him again? I forget what you said his name was.
Oh, Jim Meskman.
Okay. He's really good at it.
Yeah.
He manages to douse Leonardo with the fear gas, and Leonardo starts hallucinating, and he watches his brothers die.
Yeah.
And it's not like done in silhouette. It's not like, you see an explosion and, oh no, my brothers. No. You see a bunch of, the turtles are all standing there, and Leo is running towards them, and a bunch of crows fly by, and then there's these dead, desiccated corpses of the turtles just laying there, broken, and their teeth are missing, and they've had all their moisture sucked out, and they're just obviously corpses. And it's super disturbing, and Leonardo drops down to try to pick up Donatello's arm, and he turns to dust, right? And so Batman manages to talk him out of the hallucination, and he uses a blind fighting technique to take, because he closes his eyes and listens for the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
And he uses a blind fighting technique to smash him with the back of his sword.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool that they animated it being the back of his sword that he hit him with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which was straight out of Rurouni Kenshin, if you remember that show from way back in the day.
I do. I read the manga series pretty religiously too. You know?
Yeah. Batosai the Manslayer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Batman gives Leonardo the antidote, and then it cuts back to Michelangelo, Raphael, and Damien as they enter this big atrium, and here is Poison Ivy mutated into a giant Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
Right? And she is, talking to them in her, I'm now all I could ever be. And she starts sending her, Venus flytrap hand, head, arm things to attack them. And it's that scene out of Tom and Jerry where the dog hits the end of its leash and just stops.
Yeah.
Right?
Because she's got roots and she's stuck to the ground.
Yeah, she's a plant.
So she can't reach them, which is that's a nice decision. There's a lot of fights in this film. And so to cut for time and stuff like that's a nice way to cut on that and then not really hunker down so much.
Yeah, and it's a good comic relief
it's
moment.
Funny, yeah.
This
especially
sequence
was that either before or after Scarecrow scene that would probably definitely be needed.
I don't remember if it was before. I think it was right before the Scarecrow scene.
Yeah.
I think. Might have been right after. I don't remember the exact sequence of shots, but either way it was a bit of levity inside what is a dark and scary place.
Yeah.
Because she's snapping at him and they're up against the back wall and she can't reach him. And she's like, hold on a second. Wait, no, hold on, wait. Yeah. And Raphael's like, so do we just go around her? Damien's like, yeah, we go around her. So they just sort of tiptoe around the outside of the room.
Yeah, and that's it. You're done. You don't need to take care of her.
Yeah. Then they make it to the main room where the Joker is, and he has mutated himself into a snake.
Yeah. And
he's mutated Harley into a hyena, a laughing hyena.
Yeah, which is great.
Which fits.
Yeah.
Fits perfectly.
And
I mean, there's always a trap with the Joker. So when Raphael runs off after Batman says to hold back, and tries to rescue the 2 hostages, finger quotes. One, they zap him and knock him out. Him and Leonardo both. And this is when the big fight scene happens, when it's like all the rogues versus the Bat team. And they work well together, but they're not like in sync with Batman yet. And because of their recklessness, Batman manages to get caught by Mr. Freeze's freeze gun, and Joker slithers up to him, and he starts monologuing about how, the reason Ra's wanted his venom, his Joker venom, was because when you mix it with the ooze, it turns them not only into a mutated creature with a human mind, but it drives them insane and gives them like a feral, rabid style personality.
Right.
So he injects Batman with this Jokerized ooze, who then turns into a gigantic, really scary vampire bat.
Yeah, Man-Bat.
Yeah.
Basically.
He turns into Man-Bat.
Yeah.
So he starts flying around and the turtles, start fighting him and trying to subdue him. And this is where Donatello busts out the anti-ooze, the retromutagen. And Batgirl's like, but it's untested, it could kill him. And Leonardo's like, well, you said after 12 hours the DNA changes are baked in and this is permanent, right? Then we have no choice.
Yeah. So
they manage to subdue Batman and give him the antidote, and and Batgirl takes out the Joker as he's trying to swivel away, or slither away to escape. She's just like, nah, and just smashes his face with her boot.
Yeah. Knocking out all of his teeth, and then took a picture for Instagram.
Yeah.
So forth.
It was great.
It was a good moment.
So the next scene is they're out of the asylum, and they get back to the Batcave, where they find out that the Wayne Enterprises Cloudseeder has been stolen during this whole Arkham Asylum incident, which was just a distraction. Right? Actually, Ra's hired the Penguin to steal the Cloudseeder, who then gets ripped off by Shredder. But, in another really dark scene where, he gives him the Cloudseeder and then is like, so a lot of money was discussed. And Shredder goes, there is no money. He's double-crossing us. Kill him. And then all of his goons just fall over dead with ninjas behind them. All your men are dead. Fine, I'll chalk this up to a learning experience.
I'll put it on my resume.
Yeah, exactly.
So
now they have all the stuff they need to build their device that they're trying to build. And Batgirl figures out that they're at Ace Chemicals, because that's the only place to get the ingredients for Joker's venom.
Yeah.
So they decide to drive to Ace Chemicals to try and fight him off. Except that Batman's like, no, the turtles are a liability. They can't follow orders. You guys are leaving my city. I'm going to go handle this. Right? And in what I think is one of the tonally best decisions they could have made, Raphael is the one that talks to him.
Yeah.
He goes up to him and he's like, look, a lot of times I will fly off the handle and I'll get mad at my almost unbearable brothers and go off on my own to try and handle things, in my dark and broody way. And you know what happens? Every time I get in over my head and my brothers have to come bail me out. Families make mistakes. It's what happens. We work with each other to get better. And Batman's like, this isn't a family, it's a team. And Raphael goes, isn't that the same thing?
Yeah.
Right? So there's this moment of silence and Batman's like, you're right.
Yeah, because he's looking at his own, team.
Yeah, he's looking at Batgirl and Robin, and he's like, "You're right. This is a family."
Robin is legitimately his son.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go together. Let's stop Shredder together. And he shakes hands with Leonardo. And at this point, Michelangelo goes, "I call Batmobile," and he jumps into the cockpit of the passenger seat of the Batmobile. And Leonardo's like, "Mikey, we have our own ride. Don't care. I call dibs." Right?
It was so great.
And this is when this is the first time I wrote "Holy crap" on the thing on my notes, because the Turtles' ride is the Turtle Party Wagon.
Yeah,
the van.
Yeah,
right, complete with sewer. What is it? Manhole cover.
Those manhole covers that look like pizza.
Yeah, manhole cover launchers that are painted like pizzas. It's got the 2 turtle bikes in the sides. It's freaking great.
Yeah.
It's note perfect, straight out of the cartoon show.
I noticed that there was a calendar in there on the month of April.
Yeah.
That was a nice little nod. That was her cameo.
Yeah, that was April's cameo.
So
the Batmobile and the turtle van are slamming up to Ace Chemicals, where they get into the road fight sequence, which is a really cool fight. I mean, there's not a whole lot of depth to this fight sequence. It's just a bunch of ninjas and mutated ninjas from the League of Assassins and the Foot Clan trying to stop these two vehicles from getting into the main area. Like, there's a dinosaur ninja and an elephant ninja and all kinds. Now to
think about it, that's probably a good callback that Michelangelo was riding on top of the animatronic T-Rex in the Batcave. And then there's, the mutated T-Rex later on.
Which is interesting. The elephant ninja was a League of Assassins ninja, and the T-Rex ninja was a Foot Clan ninja. Mm-hmm. It's obvious that they're both being mutated to help out.
Yeah.
And so halfway during the fight, they throw like darts full of the anti-ooze into these mutated ninjas and turn them back to normal. And they get to the building. Oh, and during the fight, the Damian Wayne and Batgirl, or no, Batgirl and who is it? Donatello?
What are you trying to describe?
On the motorcycles. I think it's Donatello, or is it Raphael?
It's
Raphael.
It's Raphael.
Yeah,
I think because I know Donatello was on the lower part below like the helicopter that Michelangelo was destroying.
Yeah.
But that was like after, because I think
that was much later. Yeah, that's after they get inside.
That was much later. I know what you're trying to say.
This is when the motorcycles pop out of the van.
Yeah.
So it's Batgirl and Raphael on the turtle cycle, and then Batgirl's motorcycle. Mm-hmm. Right? They pop out of the van and they get into a fight, and Damian Wayne jumps off the top of the van and throws a bunch of the anti-ooze into the mouth of the T-Rex, so he mutates, and as he's falling, Raphael rolls up and catches him and puts him on the back of his motorcycle. So then now 4 vehicles are rolling up on the Ace Chemicals building. And it's perfect comedic timing, because it's like, I forget exactly what it said, but it's, it's ready, and one of them goes, "Nothing can stop us now." And then all of a sudden you hear the Turtles theme song undercut by the Batman the Animated Series musical score, and there's so many musical montages, like references to the different works, as the Batmobile and the Turtle van bust through the wall.
Yeah.
Right? And so we start the big final boss encounter. Batman and the Turtles and Robin and Batgirl are all fighting the ninjas, right? And the fights kind of devolve into their own thing, but then it gets to Batman versus Shredder round 2.
Yeah.
Right? And Shredder kind of has Batman on the ropes for a bit of it. He's a ninja, straight up. And Ra's al Ghul is fighting the other 3 turtles, while Damian and Batgirl are dealing with the ninjas down. They're like all up on a balcony, and Damian and Batgirl are downstairs. And Al Ghul manages to break Donatello's arm and hurl him off of the railing, and he lands on the Cloud Seeder device. Because their villain plan is to basically rain Jokerized ooze down on Gotham,
right,
to turn everyone in Gotham into a feral mutant creature, so they would destroy each other and the city would go under. Right,
yeah.
That's Ra's al Ghul's whole thing.
Yeah.
So Donatello lands on this Cloud Seeder with an obviously broken arm, and Michelangelo, and it starts to launch, and Michelangelo notices this and he jumps over to help. So he and Donatello ride the Cloud Seeder up into the sky, while Leonardo and Ra's al Ghul are fighting.
Yeah.
And Ghul disarms Leonardo, knocks him down, and has him at his mercy at his sword point, and is standing over him, and he starts to monologue. He's like, "You fight well for a turtle, but I've been doing this for I'm hundreds of years old.
Right.
I've trained with all the masters of all the martial arts in all the world. There's nothing you can do to stop me. You had no chance." And at this point, Leonardo just realizes that Ra's is straddling him, and he just kicks straight up into Ra's al Ghul's nuts. Just like, wham! And it makes the sound effect as it hits. And then his eyes cross.
Yeah. Like weren't expecting this in like a civilized fight.
Yeah, exactly. And he drops to his knees, and Leonardo kind of jumps to his feet. He goes, "Hundreds of years, huh? Well, I'm 16 years old, and I learned this from a rat." And he does like this pressure point combat thing.
Yeah, like it's like the 5-finger death punch. Exploding heart technique, lifted from Kill Bill.
Yeah.
And
it even shows like as he hits in like the little X-ray of Ra's al Ghul's, rib cage and stuff.
Yeah. And like they're all blue except for the fifth one, which is red, which is like his heart. Perfect.
And so Ghoul falls over, and then it cuts back to Batman, who is kind of backed up against a wall. And Shredder, pops out his gauntlet blades again. He's like, "Any last words? I told you if you got in my way again, you would die." And Batman goes, "Cowabunga." And Shredder stops, goes, "Wait, cowabunga?" And then all you see is the back of a turtle smash Shredder's face till it breaks his mask, knocks him sideways. And then Raphael, in one of the best moves I've ever seen, has flown backwards after being pulled by one of Batman's zip lines, has smashed into the Shredder, goes, "In your face, Shredhead!" And then gives him the double middle finger as he falls off the back of the thing. And that's all the distraction Batman needs to get in. And now that Shredder's face is, not covered by that metal mask anymore, Batman just starts wailing on the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Right. He gets the upper hand. He just starts beating the hell out of the Shredder. He's like, "Let's end this." And he tackles Shredder off the railing, and as they're falling, he's punching him in the face repeatedly. Right? They hit the ground, and the fight is over. Shredder's taken out. He sits up, and he's like, "It doesn't matter. I control the League of Assassins and the Foot Clan. I'm going to conquer the world." And during this fight, up in the sky, Michelangelo has been, with Donatello's help, trying to shut down the Cloud Seeder. And at one point, he presses a button, and it extends the helicopter blades out even further. And Donatello's like, I don't know how, but you turned it on even more, right? And Michelangelo calls back to the Ninja Turtles theme song from back in the 80s, and he's like, "Dude, this is not my thing. I'm the party dude. You're the one who does machines."
Yeah.
Right? Which is the lyrics from the
theme song.
So he starts smashing it, and they blow up the Cloud Seeder, right? And as they're falling from, half a mile up at this point, they're like, "What are we gonna..."
I don't know what you did, but whatever you did, keep doing it.
Yeah. So the Cloud Seeder explodes. Donatello and Michelangelo are falling back to Earth, and just like there's this beat of "oh shit, oh crap," and then "oh wait," boom, and they suck into their shells. Right? They withdraw into their shells, and they both fall, and then they land and bounce on this gray platform. And Michelangelo pops his head out and goes, "I knew they were here for a reason!" And then it zooms out, and they've landed on one of the blimps with the searchlights.
Yeah.
Like from Batman the Animated Series. So, then it cuts back to Shredder, and he's like, "I've got control of both ninja clans, and I'm going to rule the world, and nothing can stop me." And then the flaming wreckage of the Cloud Seeder crashes through the building and lands on top of him. Right? So the next scene is back in the Batcave, and they're, celebrating their victory. "Yay, we won! Yay! This was a good team up," and so forth. There's no way Shredder could have survived that. But then Leonardo's like, "Well, we've counted him out before, only to be surprised." Right? And so they go to go their separate ways. The Turtles are going to go back to New York, and Batman's like, "You can't leave now. It's pizza time." And he steps to the side. There's a whole bunch of pizzas, and he even hands Damien a slice.
Which he was unsure of whenever to get a pizza, because earlier they had a different pizza party situation.
Yeah,
and he was like, "There's no time for pizza," pretty much. But that's how you really You didn't really know per se. It wasn't specified throughout this whole movie that this was Damian Wayne, but this one was kind of he was reluctant to join in for it because it was a little bit uncivilized, to try to eat this pizza, compared to having fancy dinners and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Well, it was mentioned a couple times because during the
he did say father at one point.
Yeah, during the when Batman was mutated scene, he said father, and then at one point he says
that was your clue. Otherwise, there was no this is Damien for sure.
I think at one point he says he calls him Damien.
Oh no.
He says, "Get off, Robin," when they first show up in the Batcave.
Yeah.
But then I think it's during that first pizza party you're talking about where he's like, Damien and Batgirl are going to do this, and shouldn't you be working on that? I think that.
I don't know.
I could be wrong, but either way, it's if you're familiar with any of the Batman animated movies, it's obviously Damian Wayne. Yeah. He mentions that Ra's al Ghul is his grandfather when he's talking about the League of Assassins.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the other thing I was thinking of.
That's true.
Because there was at one point when they're talking about the League, Raphael is behind Damian Wayne at the Bat computer. He's like, so this League of Assassins is just like your standard evil ninja deal? Well, they'd be more accurately described as a death cult. You know, their leader is hundreds of years old, and my grandfather.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, so spooky evil ninja deal.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So anyway, they have the pizza, and then it cuts to the end credits. And, you know, all in all, this was a popcorn flick.
Yeah.
Right? It's fun to watch.
It's very entertaining. And it combines both of the best things for both of the franchises together.
Oh, yeah. It's great to watch it a couple times. You know, watch it the first time just because it's fun. Watch it the second time to see if you can catch all the references. Mm-hmm. Like, that's when I noticed that, you know, Penguin's goons were Bebop, Rocksteady, and Krang.
Yeah, right? or the stuff in the Batcave, like, you know, the T-Rex I mentioned earlier was from, you know, this other encounter we had with somebody else who, like, transformed this animatronic T-Rex and, you know, was attacking this zoo. And then there was huge Penny, you know. Like, I was just like, I don't remember this Penny at all, you know. And so I did a little bit more research, and then I found out that it was, like, from an earlier comic, you know, as the Penny Hoarders, and they did Penny, you know, themed sort of crimes, you know. So that was pretty great. Yeah, this whole movie is just a feast of fan service and visual references. Yeah. And music references, too. Like, the Batman the Animated Series score is in there, the Ninja Turtles score is in there. At one point, they have like a techno remix of "Go Ninja Go," the Vanilla Ice song. Yeah, that's I think during the vehicle fight scene. Mm-hmm. It's super good. I really enjoyed it a lot. What would you rate it? Couple things were a little annoying. Some of the animation was a little off. Like the fight scenes were good, but a lot of the between character animation just seemed like it was missing frames. Yeah, like standing conversations and so on and so forth. I'd give it on sheer fun factor, and because, you know, fully admitting that I'm nostalgia blinded by anything with Ninja Turtles in it. I'm the easiest lay in the world for Ninja Turtles. Yeah. I'd give this a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Yeah. Pretty strong 7, maybe not quite an 8. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a 7 too with this. Yeah. You know, I really enjoyed the whole way through. Like, most crossovers don't really take advantage of their material as well as this one does. Yeah. And I really appreciated that, for sure. Yeah, and I really like that they both adopted each other's, like, bits of each other's lore. Yes. So, like, during the later fight scenes, some of the turtles had bat grappling hooks and were using them to get around the combat arena. And, you know, Batman saying "cowabunga" as a code word that he needs help with the shredder. Yeah, that was great. That was great. You know. All the turtles were done well, by the way, too. Like, the voice talent. Eric Bauza, he's going to be in Space Jam 2 as, you know, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, you know, Foghorn Leghorn. He was in Batman Ninja as Two-Face. He was, I need to see Batman Ninja. I've read about it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I agree. I should definitely watch that, too. And he's Woody Woodpecker in every Woody Woodpecker thing, so he was leaning on her in this. Darren Criss, which I was surprised by, he voiced over Raphael. The reason why he surprised me with that, I knew him from Glee. He played Bane Anderson. He's the boyfriend character who comes in with Curtis, you know, there's like the gay romance sort of thing. Like that character. He was Eugene in Midway, the war movie, you know, and he was the killer in the Gianni Versace, you know, assassination of Gianni Versace, you know, special that came out a few years back, and he got some recognition for that. Donatello is played by Baron Vaughn. He was on Mystery Science Theater 3000 as Tom. Oh, like he voiced over Tom. Like I think it was in the rehash, the revival, the one on Netflix. You know, which is really good. Yeah. You know, and Kyle Mooney was Michelangelo. He's an SNL actor, comedian. He's been on there since 2013. My problems with Michelangelo were not his fault. He definitely voiced the character really well for what it was written as. My problems with Michelangelo in this movie were that he was written as the annoying younger brother to the rest of the Turtles, to a bit too much of an extent, in my opinion. Yeah, right. I was fine with it more so. Yeah, and, you know, like I said, I'm biased towards the old Turtles cartoons. Which is why you'd be more critical of it, too. Yeah, you know, in certain places. Which makes sense. Yeah, Kyle Mooney, he was also Murphy Brown Funk in Arrested Development in their 5th season.
Okay.
You know, Brian George played Alfred. He was in Big Bang as Roger's father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just give you like a visual representation. And Robin is played by Ben Dro. I don't really know him for much in anything. He was in this YouTube video back to the 90s. Was pretty great.
Did they pitch up his voice at all? Do you know of?
Not that I could look up and see.
Okay, because Damien's voice seemed a little high-pitched in a couple of spots, especially like during the fight in the Batcave, right? But it's nothing that, you would notice on a first or even second watch.
Yeah.
It felt like whoever was voicing him had their voice pitched up, but then again, that could just be me reading too much into it.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's just the actor.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not familiar with the actor, so
yeah, I'm hardly familiar with him too. Even with all this research, and he was in the first episode of the second season of Love, Death, and Monsters.
Okay.
I mean, Love, Death, and Robots. But I haven't watched any of the second season of that yet. So
okay,
but
so knowing that I give this movie a strong 7, with verging on an 8, if not for a couple of minor points, right? Like the Michelangelo thing.
Yeah.
And the some of the fights were a little truncated.
Yeah, the monthly off, somewhat off animation style.
Yeah, the animation style was a little off. Some of the fights were not as bombastic as some of the other ones.
Right.
Then again, that could very well have been a stylistic choice to not have so much in the viewer's face at one time, which, the film works overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd give this a strong 7. What would you rate this film?
I would give it like a 7, just a straight up 7. Not really like strong leaning towards anything higher or anything lower. It was nice. It was solid. I was satisfied with this. I definitely want to look into more Batman, home video releases.
Oh yeah, a lot of them are really good. I'm not going to just name all the ones I've seen because I've seen most of them, but of the ones that I've seen that I would definitely recommend, Hush was good if you have not read the graphic novel. If you have, then the ending will... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not... Nothing I'm going to get into spoilers with. It's not a bad ending. It's just different.
Yeah.
In the way that like Zack Snyder's Watchmen was not the same ending as the comics. It was just different.
Right.
The Killing Joke...
I know, save from that one scene, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's that there's so many little things wrong with The Killing Joke that... it doesn't really work as an adaptation for me, but like
adaptation or something that's standalone.
Yeah, but Hush was really good. I haven't seen Batman Ninja, but Gotham by Gaslight was really good. Mm-hmm. And then like there's the old school like Mask of the Phantasm and like Batman, Superman, Public Enemies. The Justice League movies are all
Mask of the Phantasm was great too.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So this. That is going to about wrap it up for us.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts you want to give on this movie?
I enjoyed it, and I think you will too.
Yeah, you can find it on HBO Max right now, as of this recording for watching, and it's worth it. I definitely would give it a watch. You can also rent it for like $3 from a bunch of different places, and I'd pay $3 to watch this movie.
Yeah.
If you can find the Blu-ray, there's some interesting like documentaries and stuff about it. That's where I learned about. They were trying to emulate Kurosawa films. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this movie.
Yeah. Well, my name is Keith.
My name has been Brian.
And this is Doop, the movie podcast.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.